Hey guys, Morgan's Maintenance, and for today's tool review, I have two more products brought to you by KAIWEETS. Now, previously, I reviewed their KM601 Smart Multimeter. If you haven't checked that out, I put a link in the description below. And just like with that meter, they also sent me these two for free, so I did not pay for these. All they asked for was, if we send you these, will you give us your feedback on those? They didn't ask me to make a video. They're not paying me to talk about these. But if I'm going to give them my feedback, I might as well give it to you as well. And as we talk about these, the main thing that I want you to keep in mind, the same thing I talked about with the meter, is think about what you're getting for the price. So are these maybe the most rugged tools that you're ever going to hold in your hand? Probably not. Will they maybe be the fastest? Probably not. But what you can buy to be more rugged and what you can buy to be faster you're going to have to pay for that. And so whenever you look into the features of this meter for $40, it's going to be hard pressed for you to find one that can do the same things for $40. Same thing with these. These are both going to run you around $20. They have coupons on those. I'll put links in the description. So you're talking about under $20 for these types of testers that have the features that they have. I think that they're a great tool for many people out there, especially for homeowners and for people who want to have a backup. But I personally, even doing in maintenance, and I do a lot of more skilled maintenance type work, I was more excited about these when they sent me the specs and what they would do about these than even I was the Smart Multimeter. One is because they're cheaper, but two is you get many of the same functions, but it's in a compact size. These are so small that if I put one of these in my tool bag to replace something, that's a lot bigger, just to do standard, just normal everyday stuff, that's a space saver for me. So it's a space saver whether it's in my tool bag, whether it's in my truck, whether it's in my drawer at my house, a drawer in my shop. A lot of features packed into these small sizes. Now, when it comes to these, we have the pin type multimeter here, that is the ST120. And then we have the multifunction voltage tester, which is the ST100. I'm pretty much going to probably call that one the non-contact voltage tester, because that's the key difference with that one to me. But there's a lot of similarities between the two. They both do a lot of the same things, but then each one does a few things different than the other. So hopefully within this review, you'll be able to look at both of them and say, I think that one's the one that's the better fit for me, or maybe it's this one, or maybe I can use both. So whatever it is that's going to fit your budget, or whatever it is that's going to fit your tasks that are at hand, hopefully I can help you make those decisions. That's the whole idea behind this. But again, this is going to be kind of a first impressions. I haven't used these extensively. I just got them a few days ago, but I've already kind of ran them through some things, and I'm going to show you the features, and then I'll kind of show you the main things in action. There's a few things that I can't test here at my house that they actually do. But let's go ahead and take a closer look at both of these. So when it comes to size, they're pretty similar. They're both mostly about an inch square around. And then this one is 7 inches long, the ST100, and the ST120 is 8 inches. But that is because it has a built-in lead on it. So you already have one of the leads, built in. They've got a cap so that you can have just the tip pull when you pull that off, and then you can also pull that off to get a longer tip. So that is one of the features on this. And then here it's got a space for you to put your other lead in. It comes with that in the box as well, so you can have basically one hand free to where you can also hold your piece of equipment and then both of your leads, since one is actually on it. That makes it a little easier to use this one than this one, because this one, even though it has the spot for 2 leads, so you get the non-contact voltage tester, you also get 2 leads, so you can put these in and use these as well. But now I've only got 2 hands, so I can't hold this and both of these unless I actually put one in one hand like that, which is how I would probably typically do it. But maybe you've got somewhere where you always can have this sitting on the ground somewhere and use your 2 free hands. And again, their leads also come with caps to where the very tip is exposed, or you can pull those off and expose more if you need that. So they both come with the functions of having 2 leads. They both have, the same similar type size. So there's not a lot of difference between the two, by the time you get down to it. And then they also both have a lot of the same functions. So both of these have, as I scroll through one, both of these have the same thing. So When you turn them both on, you just hold the power button. They got nice color displays, and again, those are really nice inside. Now when you go outside, it's quite a bit different, so you got to decide to yourself, if I work primarily outside, sometimes these screens are not so easy to see, but inside they are really nice. If you work inside a lot or in darker areas, these screens are a lot easier to see than maybe your standard multimeters. Now when you turn these on, this one goes straight into auto mode. This one goes into non-contact voltage mode, which I actually like that they decided to do that. Most of their meters always come up in auto mode, but again, to me, this one being a non-contact voltage tester, the fact that it comes up in non-contact voltage first, I really like that because that's primarily what you're going to use it for, so it saves you from having to turn it on and hit a function key every time to get to what you want to. So if I hit function on that one, that gets me into auto mode. So both of them have auto mode. And what that is checking is, that's always checking for AC voltage, DC voltage, resistance, and continuity all at the same time. So you don't have to swap back and forth between functions. So if you're checking for voltage on something and then you don't have it, and then you're wanting to check for continuity, then it will automatically go and check for those things without you having to switch. If I hit the function key again, it takes me to, on this one now, it goes to DC voltage, and see, this one skips all the way to frequency. So here's the difference between the two. This one only has auto mode for checking AC voltage, DC voltage, continuity, and resistance. This one you can go specifically to DC voltage, I can go to AC voltage, I can go to resistance, and then I can go to continuity. And it's a little bit faster if you're in that specific mode than that auto mode is. But I'm talking seconds. It's not like it's, a long period of time. It's a small amount of time that's the difference. So it's not a huge deal to not have that. But if you know that you're going to be working on DC voltage, you could go ahead and just set it to that, and you'll get those results a little bit faster. So if that's something that you significantly want to be able to go to whatever it is that you're wanting to check, this one has that, this one doesn't. So if I skip on to the next one, again, this one has diode testing as well. And then I get into frequency. And then if I go on this one also has capacitance. This one has capacitance. Now that's something you probably are typically not going to see on small things like this. As a matter of fact, I've had a lot of cheaper meters in the past, and that's one thing that's not typically on those. Maybe it is more so now, but back in the past, you had to buy some specific meters to be able to check that a lot of times. So if I go to the next function, now this one has diode testing, so it's a little bit different order, but see, it does have it, so both of them have that. This one's on live. If I hit function on this one, I'm on live as well. And what that is it's similar as far as it will check for a live wire, but it makes it to where you only have to have one lead. So if I'm just carrying around this pin tester without this lead, and again, I'll show you these things as I get things out to test both of them, but I'll do that all at once. I can test for a live circuit just by putting this one probe into the hot side of the receptacle or whatever it might be, and it will check for that. This one I would have to at least plug in this one probe to use that feature and use this alongside of it. So again, I would have to carry it like this and then use it like that to be able to check it in that way. But this one does have that feature, so it's kind of like a voltage tester or a hot checking for your hot, but it's not a non-contact. You actually have to use the probe. If I hit the function again, you get to this phase of your checking your phases for your 3-phase. It checks the rotation. So as you have this on there, you can take and touch this to each phase. It will go through PA, PB, PC, and then it will tell you what your phase rotation is, if it's left or if it's right. I did have an air conditioner system where I checked that out just to see how it worked. That's not something that I use really all that often, but if it's a feature that would be useful to you, both of these have that feature. And with the non-contact voltage one, you can actually because you don't actually have to test the things, you just have to be close. So they both kind of work in that same way. You can use both of these for that. If I hit function again, now I'm back to auto, and now I'm back to non-contact voltage tester. So that's all the functions that you can get on both of these. But now let me show you how they actually work, and I'll show you the differences between those two whenever you're using each one. So with the pin tester, I can turn it on. I will be in auto mode. And again, with my leads off in auto mode, I can go straight from AC voltage and it will show up AC at 118. I can go to DC voltage. This goes DC 7.6. I could also check for continuity and it will give me that audible beep. So all those things, I don't even have to press the function key. Now on the pen tester, like I said, that's the bonus, is that you can check DC, AC, resistance, and continuity all by itself. You can also do diode testing. You can do frequency if that's something you need. And then this one has capacitance on it. And you know, if you remember in that review, if you check that out, it was a little bit slow. But if I go from common to fan here, within a few seconds, I get that 5. And if I go from common to Herm, within a few seconds, I get the 40. This is a little bit faster, quite a bit faster than what their other product was, the KM601. So again, just think about, I can have this little tool with me. I can check AC voltage, DC voltage, continuity, capacitance, all these things for less than 20 bucks in a handheld size that I can just sit here and use, and I've got one probe attached that frees up a hand. I think it's very useful, and I really like that. And again, with live wire, I could carry this around without even having this probe in. So even though it's not a non-contact voltage tester, it saves me from having to actually have test leads out. I can put that in the hot side of this plug here. I got high voltage. I get audible beeps. I can put it, you know, right in there, and I get that every time. And I'm sticking it over somewhere where it's not live, it's the neutral side. I'm not getting anything. So again, that's kind of a neat feature to have as well. And also you have this phase rotation tester. So if that's something that you use in your job, maybe that's useful to you. It's not something that I will use much, but that is an option for you to have. I haven't really seen that on a lot of tools. So again, small size, fits in your hand, checks all the same things really that meter checks. I think for under $20, that's a really good deal on this. So I think that that's a great benefit to have. Well, now let's look at the ST100 and maybe what some of the differences are for that one. So now I'm looking at the ST100. Whenever we look at the differences of it, whenever you turn that on, again, like I said, the first thing it goes to is non-contact voltage. I really like that they did that because I was afraid that it would be on auto because that's what their other ones do. And you'd have to hit a function key every time you turn it on because that's what you're primarily probably going to use this for. And you know, is it bigger than a standard non-contact voltage tester? Sure, this is my Klein right here. And again, this is probably even a little bit of a bigger one than some of them that you might carry. So is it bigger? Yeah. Is it drastically bigger? No, it would still fit in most slots in my tool bag. Maybe it takes up a little bit more room in a pouch, but it is very responsive. It actually works very well. You can see here, I'll put it in. I'm getting good coverage on my lights. It goes up to red. It shows an H for high voltage. I'm also getting an audible beep flashing. Basically, it's letting me know there is power here. I can go over to the other side. I get nothing. And it's sensitive enough that if I put this on this side over here of this wire, that is the neutral side of the wire. So this is, you know, this cord's got basically two wires right next to each other. It is showing me that, you know, you're close by to something, but if I'm out here at all, I'm not getting anything. If I move it over, I'm getting that high voltage. So it's good enough to be able to pick out wires even that are that close to one another. I was really surprised by that. I thought that this just does a good job. So far, in the few places I've used it, it's been able to find the specific wire I'm not worried about right now. Is that because I'm close to another wire and the wire I'm actually touching isn't the hot one? Because that's where, you know, if we look at these, that's the same functions right here. That's what you got. If this is what you carry, you got that in this. But then we always like to say, well, you know, this is a really good tool to have, but you should never really trust it. Always go back and check with your meter. Make sure that it's actually not hot. How many of us really do that? I know it's a nice thing to say, but I guarantee you some of you have checked and you've thought, well, my meter's down there in my truck. I'm just going to go ahead and undo this and do that. Well, this actually will allow you to test that very thing. So if you stick this in and you realize you've got something that's hot, this non-contact voltage tester actually takes leads. So you can put leads in as well. So you could even be carrying this around. So you could put this in a box, check it and say, oh, I think that wire is actually hot. let me double check that now and see where I'm at. I'm going to hit function. I'll go into auto mode again. I'm going to stick that into the socket, and now I've got AC volts of 119.8 volts. So I can actually go in and check that. I can verify that I actually do have voltage, what kind of voltage that is, and I can see how that's going for me. Now, again, this one doesn't allow you to change between strictly AC voltage, strictly DC voltage, and all those things. It only has auto mode for checking those things. So now I can get into, again, hertz. I can get into capacitance. So we got the same thing here. So again, how many of your non-contact voltage testers that you have will allow you to quickly check capacitance if that's what you need to do? So I'm going from over to fan to Herm. I've got the 40.4, and now that was Herm to common, and now fan to common, 5.03. Again, that one was much faster than that of their KM601 of mine. So they have it figured out on this one to where it doesn't take near as much time, not near as much of a delay. I really like that. I think, again, I've got a non-contact voltage tester in my hand that I can check capacitance with. I just think that is phenomenal. I think that's a great function that they've added onto this. I hit function again. You have diode testing. Hit function again. You have live wire. So again, I can check non-contact voltage. I can also take this one lead, just like with the pin type meter, stick that in, and now I can see that I've got high voltage there. I do have a live wire, and it verifies that for me as well. And then this one also has the same thing with the non-contact phase. You can use your tester, go to A, B, and C, and then it calculates and it tells you if it's left or if it's right. Again, if that's a feature that's useful for you, I would suggest that that's something that's interesting, because I haven't really seen that on a lot of other tools as far as the meters that I have anyways. So then you get back to the very first feature, again, non-contact voltage tester. Both of them have flashlights on them. So if you hold down this middle button on both of those, you have a flashlight comes on. It's not real bright, but again, it's better than nothing. And if you're holding leads in your hands, you don't have that extra free hand to turn on another flashlight, so you end up holding one in your mouth, or if you have a headlamp. Again, there's the flashlight on this one. So both of them have flashlights that will shine directly on the area that you're working on. And another feature that they both have, so let's say I have this on AC voltage and I want to check here, and now I have 119 volts. I can also press and hold that press the button that's the flashlight and not hold it, just press it once. It will hold that measurement, and then I can take that off. And now if I need to get a picture of that or something like that, because holding two leads, holding a camera, you can't really do all that. So it does hold your measurements for you if you want to. Then you can press it again and it resets back to 0 for you to continue checking. But yeah, I think they both could be useful tools. So maybe one for you, maybe one for somebody else. Just depends on what it is that you do. I personally think that this one's going to come in more use to me, because I can replace my non-contact voltage tester in my small go bag, and then also still have a lot of meter functions. You know, the fact that I can go somewhere, have a non-contact voltage tester, check for actual voltage, and then check for capacitance and continuity and things like that, all from this one tool. I think that that's a great deal. Again, it doesn't feel like it's any less, you know, material-wise built than what any of my other testers are. It's just a plastic material. Does it feel like it's the most robust thing ever? No. But it's less than $20 and does all these things. And the fact that I like this one, that I can kind of have a free hand with that. I think that's a useful thing with that. But again, it checks pretty much all the same type things. Another benefit to both of them is they both turn off in 15 minutes if you leave them on. And then they beep and shut themselves off to save battery life, which they take 2 AAA batteries a piece. Those come in the boxes with them as well. And then, just like how I showed with that meter, my favorite test leads are these Fluke silicone leads with the self-adjusting. You know, you don't have to deal with caps. I like those. They twist. These leads will work inside of these as well. Even though the KAIWEETS leads are of decent quality, they're probably the equivalent of like a standard lead that comes with your Fluke meters or what other meters whenever you get those in your bag. But if you have some other meter leads that you purchased and you really like them and they have similar style, inserts and the ends on them, then you can use those on these as well. So again, a lot of bang for your buck. Nice compact size. I think they're well worth less than $20 to have one. Keep one in your truck, keep one in the drawer of your house, keep one in your go bag. I think that they would be useful. Let me know which one you think is the best. Maybe you've got both of them. Maybe you've already got one of them. Let me know what you think about them, how they've been working out for you. Let us all know in the comments below. But I hope all is well. I hope I helped you make a good decision. Stay safe. Have a blessed day. And I'll see you on the next video.